From life sentence to death penalty, is it basically like a flip of the coin, or is it like harder to get a death penalty sentence?
Oh, it's harder to get a death penalty sentence for sure, because you have to have a death qualified jury, which means a jury, you have individual voir dire, you know much more about the juror. They have to be, in order to sit on a death penalty juror, you have to be able to consider and assess death, right? So not every person, you have people with religious beliefs or personal beliefs or spiritual beliefs that believe that, the death penalty is inappropriate regardless of what happens. So then you have to prove, future dangerousness and heinousness and all this sort of stuff. So yeah, getting the death penalty is not a gimme by any stretch.
And so for the death penalty, there's a lot of talk online on people wanting to just get rid of that as a verdict. I think there's some talk that there's a certain percentage of death penalties that the people are falsely accused or something like that, so they would rather to get rid of that. What's your take on death penalty, whether it's an appropriate?
And have you ever had someone that you defended who got convicted with the death penalty?
No, I've never. To be fair, I've only tried a handful, right? So it's not like I've escaped the death penalty, or my clients have escaped the death penalty a number of times. But I guess my answer to your question, Tommy, is I believe that the death penalty is appropriate, but only in the most heinous circumstances, right? Where the Idaho killing case, where you kill 4 people for no reason at all. There's no motivation. There's no, there's no financial incentive. There's no say. We're just would I be able to give that guy the death penalty, even as a criminal defense lawyer? Maybe, because that's a dangerous dude, and I'm not worried about him getting out and killing someone. I'm worried about him killing another inmate or a guard or whatever in prison. So do I believe in the death penalty? I do, but in very sparing and selective circumstances.
Got it.
The last thing I want to touch before we close this episode off is just this concept of confessions in the court, and for you to kind of educate us here on the different types of confessions, what leads to a confession. I know you mentioned that this was a case that you dealt with where the person you were defending essentially confessed. And if you can obviously highlight any other cases, and if it's happened without you knowing, or if you've been like, hey, you don't need to, there's enough like evidence here that we can get you out of this, or kind of talk us through the nature of confessions in a courtroom.
Well, as a defense lawyer, the first thing I tell my clients, I never want my clients talking to law enforcement, period, end of story, stop.
Yeah.
I just don't do it. If I find out that they have been arrested and they call me, hey, I'm on my way, shut the fuck up. Do not make any statement, period, full stop. A good law enforcement officer, they are trained in eliciting and obtaining confessions. Do I think there are false confessions out there? 100%. Do I think people confess to crimes they didn't commit? 100%. Is it often? I don't know, but it certainly exists. I think in probably 10% of time, just gun to my head, I'm imagining that they might have been tricked or deceived, or they're covering up for somebody else, or they're scared, or whatever. There's all kinds of reasons that a person would enter into a false confession. I think the era of false confessions are diminishing. Because the practice back in, when I wrote A Dinosaur to the Office, they were never recorded. There were never video cameras. It was the cop's word against your client saying, I never said that. Well, why'd you sign it? Because they said if I didn't sign it, they'd beat the shit out of me. Well, there's no way to, now most of all the recordings or all the statements are recorded, not just the execution of it. So I think the era of false communications, generally speaking, or false confessions rather, is diminishing, but they're still out there.
For death penalties, the only experience that I have is there's this movie called The Green Mile. Is it called The Green Mile?
Yeah. That's your experience with this?
The only thing I know about how it looks like is from that movie. Is that an accurate depiction of the death penalty?
You mean the
Can a man heal someone with?
Do what?
Can a man heal someone by breathing down their neck?
No, not that part. But like just the setup, for it.
Well, in Harris County, again, when I was in the midst of my state practices 20 years ago, We sent more people to death row in Harris County than any other state.
Oh my goodness!
Than
So
any other state.
a county beat every other state.
We killed them left and right. We put them on death row early, often, and late.
7 hours in Target, you're going on death row.
It was brutal. And again, it's been probably 15 years since I had somebody who I represented that was on a death penalty case where they were seeking the death penalty. But if you're asking about life on death row, it sucks, right? You're in a cage 23 hours a day. You get out for an hour. That's it. You have no communication with anyone else. It's unair conditioned. You're the scourge of the earth. It's a brutal existence. If I were going to sit in, if I were given the death penalty and I knew I was good for it, I'd waive the appeals. I'd want it over because that's a miserable existence. It's just absolutely awful.
And if you waive it, then that means
you get it.
And is that
if you waive the appeals?
If you waive the appeal, that means you get it. Is that an electrocution? Is that a hanging?
Death by injection in Texas.
Death by injection. I think they got rid of the chair like a long time ago, right? A long time ago.
Is the injection painful?
No.
Oh, okay, well, that kind of sucks.
Well, how would you know?
Well, I mean, you can see them.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. Is the last meal or final meal, is that like a thing?
That's
actually?
a thing.
It
For
is.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
And you can just do they have like a list that you pull from?
I don't think you can. You
can't
get
just
picked from a restaurant, but you can.
You can't just.
I want
a cow from
I want
Argentina.
Ruth Chris's. I want onion rings. But yeah, it's a thing.
There's a movie with Jamie
Carrabba's.
Foxx.
I want the OG Carrabba's. That's what I want.
And I want Bethany to make it. I want to close off with this because actually this opens like a whole can of just different conversations that actually now that I think are very fascinating. But the Miranda rights, you see this in movies, 21 Jump Street, 22 Jump Street, like dumb movies where they butcher the Miranda rights or people even get out of trouble because they weren't read their Miranda rights or whatever. I don't know how real that stuff is, but is that something that is prevalent still? Like, is that part of the process?
It's still part of the process. You before they can be questioned, if you're detained, you're entitled to be informed of your Miranda rights. Now, I get clients often who weren't read their Miranda warnings, but they didn't give a statement, right? So they'll come in and they're charged with X, Y, or Z, and when they were arrested, they weren't read their Miranda warnings. Well, I want my case dismissed because my Miranda warnings weren't read to me. Well, unless they obtained a statement in violation of your Miranda warnings, you don't have anything to exclude. In other words, you don't get a get out of jail free card because your Miranda rights weren't read to you, simply because your Miranda rights weren't read to you.
So it says here, a spontaneous confession. If a suspect voluntarily confesses without any prompting from law enforcement, even without being advised of their Miranda rights, the confession may be admissible.
Yeah, that's generally the status of the law. And of course, law enforcement always claims we pulled up on them and I was going to read them their Miranda rights. And they say, wait, I'm Oswald. I shot Kennedy. That's a common carp of law enforcement. I don't think it happens near as often as they say, but you see it.
Have you, in the past, had a get out of jail free card with one of your past clients?
Well, of course I have.
Oh, okay.
But not. It's been a long time since I've had a Miranda challenge that led anywhere.
Got it.
Well, I mean, fascinating stuff, Dan. We appreciate your time on today's episode of Cogdell Law Uncensored. A lot of different stories to unpack and talk through. Obviously, we can never cover everything all at once, but maybe we can shoot back-to-back episodes, and that'll help. So we'll take a break for now and close off with today's episode. So thank you, guys.